my name is Elena Landry, and I, along with Brenton Holbert, were presenting Chapter 8. And this focuses on the self-image and learning. So basically, to start this off, this is how you view yourself, how you view your self-image, and how other people can view your self-image, and how you can be judged, but also how you can judge people based on the self-image. This is particularly related to classroom or school settings where you have a teacher-student relationship. And what this means is just that when you start off reading this chapter, you start off speaking about you and your own self-image. And you can either view yourself in a negative way or a positive way. And this is you focusing on how you look, how you act, your personality, your attitude, your demeanor, your integrity even, how you come off to other people, and how you can be based on pretty much just who you are. But this can affect the way you learn. And this can affect different learning styles. And in the book, it mentions a lot about dramatic learners and how they have more or less a harder time because they're so inclusive to themselves that their self-image is pretty low most of the time. And these are usually the very shy people that you see. The people that are introverted. They don't like to speak a lot in class. They don't like to do a lot. That kind of thing. It's a little too much for some people. But for others, you notice the people that are more outgoing, that get themselves involved in a lot of activities, like to speak out and answer questions, give feedback. Those kind of people have a very high self-image. In my paper, I put it as speaking and judging the self-image based on a spectrum. And you have the high end and you have the low end. And although the book stated that there's really no people in the middle, I believe you could easily be in the middle. But more of the dramatic learners are more in the lower end of that spectrum, and more of your outgoing, extroverted people are in the higher ends of that spectrum. But in one of the first principles that discusses everyone has a self-image, this is how you carry yourself, how you act around people, how you hold yourself up. Pretty much like holding yourself up to a certain set of standards, I guess, is the best way that could be put. I'm saying a lot. Then I'm saying it again. The next part of the chapter goes into change and how, again, dramatic learners is brought up a lot, and how change is really hard for them. It's not easily attainable. And it's kind of like those people that shy away from that kind of thing, but that you can change yourself. If you're at the lower end of that spectrum and you have a low self-image, you can change yourself and have a high self-image. But that's on you. You know. Let's see. But speaking on the people that have a very strong positive image, versus the people I say that are usually buried with uncertainties on the lower end of that spectrum with a low self-image. But also people who have that low image and try to change that can fail. You can create something called a false image. And those are those people that come off arrogant and rude. You know, that's not really who they are. But they feel, especially in a school environment, that can feel a little new, a little weird, maybe a little intimidating even. They build up this false image as kind of like a shield, I guess you'd say. But these are those people, like I said, that are rude, they're arrogant, they're self-obsessed almost. They're very full of themselves, but that's not really who they are. And if you, as a teacher, can reach through to them and you can have that open mindset to accept them, then maybe you can get them, your students, to open up to you, and that can change. You can see a person who is completely off the wall become the perfect student because they feel that support, they feel that kindness, that positivity that radiates from the teachers, and that can really have a huge effect on a learning environment, like in a classroom. And let's see. The next thing is truth. Developing the self-image based on truth, and how truth plays a big part in realizing your self-image and your self-worth. Because especially, I'll bring in again the teacher-student relationships. I mean, think back on it. Your favorite teacher, you know, how did they act towards you? How was their demeanor? How was their personality towards you? I'm sure they were kind and humble and very supportive, and they were not arrogant and rude and very quick to snap at you, especially if you didn't understand a lesson. And those people have that higher self-image. You know, those people that know how to be there for a student, especially for like a dramatic learner, for instance. But you have to be truthful. You know, if you're having trouble and you approach a teacher and tell them this, if you as the teacher are not truthful and you betray that student's trust, how do you think that student's going to come off to you now? You know, they don't trust you. Your whole integrity is gone as a teacher to them. You know, they're not going to want to learn anything from you because they're not going to believe you. Or they're going to struggle to learn something and they're not going to approach you for help because they don't trust you. So that can really affect someone's learning ability. I'm doing a lot with my hands that you can't see. That really affects someone's learning ability based on the teacher's self-image, especially, because if the teachers can't hold themselves up to a certain standards, then how are they going to be there for students, whether they're on that higher end of the spectrum or that lower end of the spectrum? That's not an environment that'll allow you to thrive. You know, you can't have students thriving when you're not there for them, you're not praising them. And that's another big thing. I really like that the book said that all praise is honest and accurate, and that's a big thing for me. You know, if I thrive on praise. If I'm doing an assignment or I'm struggling and I manage to get past that, I want to hear that I'm doing good. I want to hear that I'm giving it my all, doing my best, and that my efforts are being noticed. But if that's not true, don't lie to me about that. You know, but praise is a really big thing for me. You know, it makes me want to work harder and work more. So I really like seeing that in the book. I'm reading through that. Like I said, a good teacher is supportive and helpful, and they're going to be there for their students. And that's what creates a perfect learning environment. So Brenton came up with this really fun game to demonstrate self-image and trust between people in a group environment. And I think that game really reflects well on the chapter. I think he picked a great game to play. But don't judge others. Don't push your standards onto someone else. Just because you have a higher self-image doesn't mean it's going to help by pushing that onto someone who's a dramatic learner who has a lower self-image. You may just make them retreat further, but just, I dropped my laptop. Just be there, you know, be humble, be kind, know what your expectations are for yourself, set goals, and do all that. That's fine. But also be supportive and truthful for other people, because if someone can't believe in you and trust you and count on you, then how you think that's going to affect your own self-image? You know, I can really get in depth, but I really did enjoy reading this chapter. It really made me think a little bit more, especially between like teacher and student relationships. And I've had many teachers that were not bad, but I've had teachers that were better. And the reason that they were better was because they had a good, strong self-image, and they were supportive in there and praising their students, and those students are the ones that were making the best grades in that class versus other classes being taught by other professors or teachers. So you can really see that in the educational environments. And just think about that next time. Next time you go through your day, after all this COVID stuff's done, maybe, so you get that one-on-one interaction with your teachers. But just think about it. Think about that teacher's self-image, and think about how that affects their teaching styles, and then think about how that affects your learning styles. Is that in a positive way or a negative way? And this chapter, if you read it, can really help explain that. I really did enjoy this chapter. Thanks, guys.